Welcome back to the channel. Andrew, where are we today?
So we're at 621 Buttonwood Drive. It's my listing that's kind of midway in the island on Longboat Key. 3-bedroom, 3.5 baths, 2,530 square feet. We actually just put it under contract this last weekend, so that's good news. Sold pretty quickly, about 3 weeks, but it was really interesting. We didn't have a lot of activity on it. I did a Friday open house, and then all of a sudden we were just really busy. So only 2 houses have sold down this street in the last 2 years. So we're trying to kind of talk to some of the neighbors and see if there's anybody else that's interested in selling, because once we found interest, there was a lot of interest. So,
and we're going to talk about how you sold it and why we want to talk to you today. So please stay tuned. Okay, normally we do these videos when we take a listing, right? So we want to promote it. But today, because you sold it so quickly, which congratulations, he hustles. And that's one of the reasons why we became partners, because your energy rubs off on me and you motivate me and you give me ideas and vice versa. And I've been doing this a lot longer, but you have a lot of business acumen, and I feel like you bring so much positivity, energy, and great ideas to the table. So I'm really impressed with how much you sold, and
quickly.
And this property in particular. Tell me how you did it. And
so, this is a little bit different when you come down these neighborhoods. It's very quiet. Not a lot of these houses really sell very often. As I said, they only had 2 homes that have sold in the last 2 years down this street. Very mature trees. Older neighborhood, really well established. People really generally don't sell down here. So I did a couple of things. I door knocked, and one of the neighbors actually referred a client, somebody who used to own a property down here on the street 11 years ago and wanted to get back into the neighborhood. He came in, looked at the property twice. He did come with an offer, but we also had a couple of other offers. But it was interesting that we went from not a lot of activity in 2 weeks to all of a sudden the 3rd week we were just busy as crazy.
And so just to timestamp this video, we're sitting here just before tax day, right, in 2023. And I feel like we saw a little bit of a lull, right?
Agreed.
After the end of March, and I think we're still kind of heading out of spring break.
Right.
I think people were on vacation, and I don't know there was a little bit of a pause.
Well, and then there was a pause for about a month there, 4, 5, 6 weeks. Now all of a sudden it seems like we're ramping back up, and things are starting to get busy again. So
so let's show them a little bit of the house and kind of talk to them a little bit more about what you did and kind of how we end up selling our properties and what we're going to do today together.
Yep. Awesome.
Okay, so this is really neat and very different when you come in. The pool's kind of like wraps around the house, right?
Well, yeah. So like the house is in a U shape like this, and the pool's in the middle, so you have a ton of privacy with the landscaping. And then obviously, even from your pool, because of that, you still have the water view from the pool, but the whole house just is all windows wrapping around. Something that I thought was great is that that made obviously it easier to sell this house. Every single window in the property are hurricane windows.
Oh.
And they had hurricane shutters, so you're double protected.
That is huge for insurance.
Huge for insurance.
And electric and noise. I mean, everything.
All of that.
Wow.
And so when they did the renovation, they bought the house in 2004, renovated it from 2004 through 2006. They gutted it to the studs, redid all the electrical, redid all the plumbing, raised the ceilings, and then knocked out all the walls, so it was a big open concept. Renovation was really well done, and obviously, you get 16 years down the road and the house isn't really dated. So there's a couple things that people would probably want to do, maybe tear out the carpeting and put tile in. But for the most part, 16 years later, it still presents incredibly well. So what you're getting here, though, also is with this canal on Buttonwood, it's a deep water canal. And so you'll notice if you ever come back here, there's a large fishing boat that's stored here. You'd never be able to get that boat up one of these canals up further north on the island. So
they do really get narrow. So we're technically on the Sarasota side still, Sarasota County.
I believe so, yes.
Yeah, so this is, to your point, Buttonwood Harbor is, yes, they're wider canals, so you can fit the bigger boats, and you can see the sizes back here. But really, even just a couple streets north, they do get really narrow. I mean,
narrow and shallow.
We have a lot for sale not too far from here, half an acre, and it's only 42 feet wide on the water frontage.
Sure.
But that whole canal is probably a third of this size.
Right.
And so you're limited on
what size of boat you can put in. Right.
But let's talk more about the activity you had here, because you had done an open house all the way down in Englewood at a listing I have.
Yep.
And those people went from Englewood to
all the way to Longboat Key. So they've been looking at everything from all in between.
Yeah. Yep. So they came in and you recognize them and you're like,
wait, I know you guys.
Yeah.
And so they come in, and actually that is, obviously I can't say who it is, but that ended up being who our buyer was. So I think that, as you're going into markets that are having ebbs and flows, and when things slow down, you just have, if you continue to just work hard and do your open houses and door knock and do all the things you should be doing, over time, eventually it pays off. And when they walked in the door, we definitely recognized each other immediately.
Yeah.
Which I think gave them a little bit more of a comfort level. Like, hey, this guy's working a lot, obviously.
Right.
And, so it's good.
That's cool. And I think for us, we're tapping into our database, calling, like anytime I take a listing or you take a listing, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to call all of our own people. Yep. And then second to that, well, I'll speak to myself. Call our own people first, and then call a banker.
Right.
So there's that 24-hour period where we can sell it in-house, right, before it hits the MLS. So we do that. We're doing a lot of video collaboration, not just you and me, and we share, but other agents and other offices. So we've really branched out. So I appreciate you watching the channel, and we're sharing all those videos. And I think that's giving our clients, most importantly, a lot of exposure, because you're getting an agent like myself, and then it just gets to be spread out with the SEO, search engine optimization. Yeah. So just trying to think outside the box and get these properties sold, which you have, and I don't need to tell you.
Yeah, right? Yeah. But it's been good. I mean, look, I sort of feel like as long as you're doing the things you should be doing, and you're putting the effort in and putting the work in, eventually the properties move. Yeah. They move it. As long as you're properly priced and you're doing.
Well, you guys did have a price reduction.
We did, and we did it fairly quickly. I mean, I sort of always say, like, it's better to have one large price reduction and get the property moved than to do small ones and chase the market down.
I've experienced that. And it's really important to listen to your agent. We see the market minute by minute, and this is all we do 24/7 practically. I hate to say that, but I live, breathe, eat real estate, and I know you do too.
Absolutely.
And when you lower a price incrementally, like 10,000, let's say it's a $500,000 property. Well, $10,000 price reduction.
It's not enough.
It's not enough. Because the market's telling you it's not enough.
And then as you see more of those, you're sort of tipping your hand to other agents that, hey, we want to get the property sold, but we want to get as much as we can, but you're just begging for really low ball offers to come in. So it's better to make one jump down and say, we're sticking at this price, instead of just $10,000 incremental drops.
You're going to have, I think that you're going to have the same conversation in 6 months, and then you wasted 6 months. Right. So we are in a different market. I want to show them the inside a little bit too, as we kind of talk a little bit more about the market. And we did a long video, the end of March update. So that'll get you up to speed as well. So please definitely check that out as we walk into the kitchen.
Absolutely.
I had to get the coffee because you know what? Coffee's for closers. And we're closing on this. I mean, you're closing on this. So I know I touched on the database outside. I know you want to talk a little bit more about that. What does that really mean for the seller?
Well, for a seller, I mean, I think it's important that you're looking at any agent that you're going to be potentially hiring to list your property. Like, how long have they been in the business? How many properties have they transacted? Why that's important is because, as a great example, this property sold very, very quickly. And then all of a sudden, right after that, I had 2 or 3 people approach me saying, hey, we're also interested in buying that property or down this street. So now I have this database of 2 or 3 buyers that we know want to buy down here. It's just really important to be working with an experienced agent that's doing this full time, that has a database.
Boots on the ground.
Yeah, boots on the ground.
Literally.
And you're going to be able to potentially list your property and have a buyer very, very quickly, because we have people in our database that are ready to buy, that are interested in these particular areas. Yep. So I just think that, like, as you're looking at who am I going to list my property with, it's really important to have somebody who is an experienced agent that's doing this full time, that has been doing it for a while, and has a database that they can tap into and have resources.
And actually call and reach out.
Absolutely.
So one of the things I do with respect to the database is we do these videos, and then we have a mailing list. So we mail to a lot of people out on Longboat, for example. Right. and they get the video content, they get the market updates. And what are we going to do after this video?
So, I mean, after this video, we'll be outdoor knocking and basically trying to see if anybody else on the street is interested in selling, because now I already have 2 or 3 buyers that are ready to buy. By the way, 2 of which have already told me they're all cash. So I have very serious buyers that are all cash, ready to buy. And so that's what you're getting with an experienced agent, is they have a database of people that they've been working with. It's also really important. We'll notice in different areas in our market, generally up in Bradenton, as an example, you have a lot of part-time agents that they're doing something full-time and they're trying to do real estate on the side. It just doesn't work because they're never able to really build their database up to have those extra buyers or to be able to work a certain market. So I just think that it's super important that you're working with people that are, doing this full time and are willing to do the door knocking, are willing to make those phone calls.
And available. And if you're,
all the time.
I always say, because the market's definitely shifting here. It's always fluid and we're always on top of it. But I always say, if you can't do this business part-time, what makes, or full-time, what makes you think you can do it part-time? And, and listen, I've been there, so I understand how hard it is firsthand. And I'm preaching to the choir, but I've been there and I understand it. And it's very, very challenging to do it. And
generally speaking, the statistic that we always hear in real estate is 85% of realtors that come into this brand new never sell a single property and are out of the business in the first year. So you have really long odds when you're coming in, and that's generally just a function of it takes a long time to get going. It takes a long time to get your first client, to get your first sale. And most people don't have enough money in the bank to be able to weather that storm to get to where they're generating enough business for themselves. So.
And between you and me, like I said, you got the business acumen, I've got the years, and together we are excited to start listing properties together. And we're not afraid of hard work. And I actually did, last Saturday, I've got that, like I mentioned, that vacant lot, and I did an open house, a lemonade stand. I had really actually good activity out of it.
That's interesting.
I did like a $100 gift card for Whitney's, which is not far from here, and met some great new people. I mean, I added those people to the database, just trying to think outside the box. And honestly, the old school techniques do work.
They work.
And we're going back to that, I think. Don't you agree?
Absolutely. I mean, it really is about being face to face with people and
shaking hands and kissing babies.
Yeah, so shaking hands and kissing babies. Yeah. You've got to play mayor a little bit. And
why fight it? It works.
So
we want to show you the outside because there's a lot of unique features of the trees, I guess.
And the neighborhood. I think that a lot of the neighborhoods here will have newer, more modern properties, but this neighborhood is a little bit different and a little bit more interesting because it's older homes that have been renovated, much more mature landscaping. And a lot of the owners back here take pride in the property in a different way, and I'll show you what I mean out front. So we're out in front of the property right now at 621 Buttonwood. Something that I like to point out here is as you look around the property, you're going to see all of the trees here really large and mature. The owners of this property have an arborist come through every year and trim and treat every tree. The only tree that they don't treat, believe it or not, is this massive mango tree that's in the side. Because he said they didn't need to, because it was doing so well. They get about 200 to 250 mangoes a year off of that tree.
Oh my gosh.
So I think that's really interesting. But what you'll notice is you're back here that this is an older neighborhood. It's much more established. In the last 2 years, they've only had 2 properties that have sold back here. And because of that, they tend to be more established and have their sort of setup as how they want the properties already established. And what I mean by that is the house across the street is a rental unit. They rent it only 4 months out of the year, and they're getting $20,000 a month in rental. It's not on the water. It does have a pool. It is renovated, but it's smaller and not on the water.
It looks adorable.
It's a great property, but what's great is you're still, or if you come right down the road about half a block, there are boat docks there, so you can drop, and there's a boat launch that's right there. So you can still have a boat, even though you're not on the water. And if you come back down towards Gulf of Mexico Drive, there's a beach access that's right there. So you're still very close to be out to the beach if you want to hop out there. If you want to have a boat and drop it in the water, you can do so and get it in and out very quickly and easily. So it's just interesting because because of all of these features of the neighborhood and it being a little bit more established, not many properties sell back here. The people who generally buy back here are buying for long term. I mean, they're looking to keep these homes for a long, long time. So
why should they consider hiring us?
Well,
to sell their beautiful, really easy to sell location.
Easy to sell location, but as an example, before my very first open house, well, actually the first 2 open houses I did, I door knocked every single property on this street, and I think almost every single neighbor in the neighborhood came through. One of the neighbors called somebody who lived here before about 11 years ago, who they knew was interested in buying in here, and referred them in and saying, hey, look, this house just hit the market. You're only going to get that activity or that additional activity
yourself out there.
If you get out there and knock on the doors and you do the work.
And
so
we, I will add to that, we do all the advertising and all the online presence and the social media and the mailers and all the things. And we also have the listing concierge, which is an incredibly unique proposition for marketing in our market, and we take full advantage of that. I know we both do. And, everything goes without saying, having high quality videography and photography, but I think that we definitely put in the effort. And
100%. I think that it's important also to mention that, you have a lot of agents that are working out here. And so what do we, Shayla and Andrew, what do we bring to the table that's different? You'll notice on a lot of our open houses, it's us doing the open houses. Yes. It's not some agent that we hired that just got their license 3 months ago and we're throwing them in to do an open house. It's generally us. So when you hire us, you're getting us, versus a lot of other agents will have a team of 10 or 15 agents that are brand new, right out of school, and they're starting out in the business, and this is how they start out. That's not how we kind of do it. You're going to see us at a lot of our open houses. So when we have a listing, we really are taking ownership of that listing.
And there are definitely times when we are not able to do open houses.
Sure.
So we certainly think outside the box. So that's why these videos are important. So every time I take a listing, I do like a whole virtual, like I'm showing the property. For example, we have one down the way that's listed, and it's been a little challenging to sell, but that's because it's been rented so often.
Right.
And so it's hard to get into. And so we've encouraged people to watch the video and take them through the property as if it's like a virtual showing.
Yeah.
And so even if we can't do an open house, I know we talk about that a lot, even if we can't do it, in person or whatever, we have other options and ideas for that. So.
Sure.
Well, Andrew, how do the people at home get a hold of you?
Well, the easiest way is to call me on my cell, 941-586-2460. I'm 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, so feel free to call me early in the morning, late at night. I'm always available.
And we actually end up talking early in the morning because we have all these ideas running through our heads, right? So we'll end up talking at 6 in the morning, sometimes at 5 in the morning, because we're ready to roll and we have, we're brewing with concepts. So you can get a hold of me at this channel. Of course, message me, and thank you for watching, by the way. You can call or text my cell, 941-544-7690, or click the link below, shaylatwit.com. Also, I want to mention thank you for coming back to the channel. Thank you for subscribing, liking, and sharing with your friends, family, anyone who might be interested in Longboat, Sarasota. We do work from Manatee County, which is like Bradenton, Lakewood Ranch, down into Sarasota, all of the barrier islands, which we love selling waterfront properties. Of course, who doesn't? Which encompass Longboat, Siesta Key, Bird Key, Lido Key,
Casey Key,
all the way down to Venice, Nokomis, Minnesota Key, which is pretty far, Englewood. We do work a really large area, which is kind of unique as well. And so we can handle all of your property needs. And if you need an equity update on your property, we are happy to put something together formally for you. So thank you again for watching.